Roll call, please, Ms. Garza.
Yes. Chairman Williams.
Here.
Vice Chairwoman Kiefer.
Here.
Mr. Albrecht.
Here.
Mr. Demaria.
Here.
Mr. Henry.
Here.
Mrs. Seaburn.
Here.
Mrs. Williams.
Here.
Mr. Morales.
Here.
Mr. Anderson. Here.
Thank you. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
There are under personnel, ratification of personnel under the consent agenda.
All right. Thank you. So noted. First up, we have superintendent's announcements and spotlights. Ms. Radford.
Yes, you can join me down front. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Dr. McGuirk, other members of the board, good evening to everyone that is here tonight. It's so good to be here. We do have a few spotlights and announcements that we would like to share. The first one being some Jenny Dean students that are here tonight. We have 5 Jenny Dean 4th graders who are here because of something very special they did for others. As I call your names, please come forward to be recognized. Makai Davis, Shayna Schreidman, Shayla Padilla-Reyes, Ashley Dominguez Reyes, and Barbara Vega. Okay, only one tonight. That's fine. She can represent her group. That's right, yes. And let me tell you what these students did. The students recently read the book Lemonade Wars and were inspired to begin their own business. They harnessed this desire into an opportunity to benefit the community. The students decided to raise money for SERVE to benefit possible students who may attend Jenny Dean now or in the future. During the school's STEAM night, these young people raised $137.25 in a little under 2 hours by selling slime. Julia Martinez, a SERVE representative, was at Jenny Dean today to receive the heartfelt donation. Tonight, we honor these students for their citizenship and commitment to the community. Congratulations, and thank you for your leadership.
One, two, three.
Thank you. Oops, sorry. Not now. Okay, so next we have our Apple and Pear Award winners. The school board continues to recognize the outstanding contributions made by instructional and support employees through the Apple and Pear Award program. Again, the Apple Award is given to instructional or licensed personnel, and the Pear Award is given to support personnel. Tonight we will begin with Baldwin Elementary School, Lindsay Grogan, a 3rd grade teacher. Ms. Grogan is driven, organized, and focused, as well as compassionate and kind. The students in her room know she expects a lot from them, but they also know she will do everything she can to help them. Her peers are impressed with her let's get it done attitude and her willingness to do what it takes just to make that happen. Congratulations. From Jenny Dean Elementary, we have Pat Guthrie, speech pathologist. Ms. Guthrie has been a speech therapist at Jenny Dean for over 15 years. The children enjoy working with her and often don't even know they are working on new skills. She is proactive, helping the parents of her students and collaborating with teachers in addition to working with her students to help them make as much progress as possible. Ms. Guthrie makes a significant impact on the lives of her students, their parents, and her coworkers. Congratulations to you. From Hayden Elementary, we have Lacey Hunsinger, 4th grade teacher. Oh, that's right. She couldn't be here tonight. Yes, thank you. Okay. From Round Elementary School, Avery Lim, 4th grade teacher. Upon entering Ms. Lim's room, you can feel the positive learning environment emanating from the students immediately. Her ability to bring the class together is deeply rooted in her ability to foster class meetings extremely effectively. From day one, she has worked tirelessly to maintain a positive culture within her room and encourages her students to take those lessons learned and apply them throughout their lives. Ms. Lim is truly a special teacher, and Round Elementary School says they are lucky to have her a part of its family. Congratulations. From Williams Elementary School, third grade teacher Kristen Marini. Mrs. Marini is the third grade team lead at Weems and an exceptional teacher. She goes above and beyond to provide her students an engaging learning experience. Every Friday, she conducts a STEM activity to make learning fun and challenging. Ms. Marini truly cares about her students and is a pleasure to work with. Congratulations. Thank you. From Baldwin Intermediate School, fifth grade language arts teacher Carrie Lynn Hazelwood. Ms. Hazelwood is one of the most compassionate, team-oriented colleagues her peers have encountered. When she leaves Baldwin Intermediate School, she tutors struggling students from both teams, not only in language arts, but in math as well. She is a devoted employee who is constantly looking for ways to improve student achievement, the educational environment, and the well-being of her colleagues. She pushes those around her to become better teachers, co-workers, and people in general. Congratulations. From Mayfield Intermediate School, we have Arthur Dowry, the Instructional Technology Training Specialist. Mrs. Dowry has the knowledge to answer a plethora of questions, is quick to assist when technology goes awry, has provided numerous workshops to broaden her peers' knowledge base, and does it all with a sweet smile and can-do attitude. Mayfield feels very fortunate to have Ms. Dowry guiding them through technological developments that increase student learning, while incorporating tools they need to be educators in the 21st century. Congratulations. Metz Middle School 8th grade English teacher Elizabeth Schoenberger. As a new but seasoned teacher to Metz, Elizabeth Schoenberger has demonstrated leadership and expertise in the area of English curriculum. She is leading the English department through writing a curriculum framework for next year. Mrs. Schoenberger demands academic excellence from her students and holds them accountable to her high expectations. She has been an asset to her academy and to the English department. Congratulations. Our Apple recipient from Osborne High School, Shirley Cash, could not be here tonight. She's a CTE teacher, so we congratulate her in her absence. These are our Apple Award winners for tonight.
Maybe can we just stagger stuff, or maybe just do like a half circle? I think if we just curve around. All right, yeah, there we go. One, one more, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, there's paparazzi. Sorry, no, really, like I'm on it.
Everybody good? All right. Thank you. All right, next we have our Pear Award winners. From Baldwin Elementary School, Heather Bizek, Kindergarten Instructional Assistant and Instructional Assistant Team Lead. Ms. Bizek is an active participant in the Baldwin community and the classroom. She provides well-planned and grade-level appropriate instruction to multiple small groups every day. in addition to all of the duties required of her to maintain the flow and inner workings of the class. She has set up a supportive relationship with the students, and they always feel that they can come to her in both times of need and success. She is the example of excellence in her position and an amazing Baldwin Rocket. Congratulations to you. Thanks. From Jenny Dean Elementary School, Iwa Fabazinzik, Pre-K Special Education Instructional Assistant. Ms. Fabazinzik is a significant member of the preschool team. She is a very caring and loving individual. Her students love her and often run to her when they need an extra hug. Even though many of the children she works with do not speak, she often knows what they want and helps them to become more successful or independent. She is dedicated to making a positive impact at Jenny Dean and on her young students as they begin their learning experience during these early years. Congratulations. From Hayden Elementary School, school psychologist Brittany Klingen. Ms. Klingen does an excellent job supporting students and teachers. She goes above and beyond to provide support to students who require more direct assistance. She provides strategies and interventions for students who struggle, as well as helps collect data and provide support to her peers. She is very dedicated to her profession and the students that she serves. She works in tandem with the counselors, administrators, and teachers and is always willing to lend her expertise. Her positive attitude and outlook radiates and brightens the halls of Hayden. Congratulations to you. Next, we have Diana Carroll, cafeteria manager from Baldwin Intermediate School. Diana Carroll has taken on the unique role of managing two schools' cafeterias. She has done an amazing job of balancing her schedule and managing her staff and time for this year's edition of Baldwin Intermediate students. She always greets every student with a smile at breakfast and once again at lunch. She has done an amazing job at being able to incorporate two separate lunch menus into her kitchen. It takes a special person to manage the team that is able to serve all 800 students in the two schools, and she exceeds these expectations every day. Congratulations. From Mayfield Intermediate School, Susan Gzdowski, 6th grade administrative associate. Ms. Guzowski works tirelessly for the entire 6th grade, including staff members as well as students. She's always willing to lend a helping hand whenever she is available. She gives a warm welcome to those walking into her office, and it does not infringe upon her ability to get her job done. Her job can be demanding at times, and it is common to see her working what appears to be tirelessly to ensure that the school runs smoothly. Her peers are amazed by her ability to think on her feet and appreciate her dedication. Thank you and congratulations. From Metz Middle School, Trevor Brown, cafeteria manager. It is hard to believe that this is Ms. Brown's first year working at Metz, as she has truly taken the lead. She is always very pleasant and willing to help. Lunchtime can sometimes be very busy, but she keeps the lunch schedules running smoothly. Even during busy times, Ms. Brown is able to manage the flow of students in a calm manner with a smile on her face, which you can see right now. Metz says it's a true pleasure to have Ms. Brown as a part of their family. Congratulations. Thank you and welcome. From Osborne High School, Susanna Ferreira, cook. Ms. Ferreira is the lead cook for the Osborne cafeteria. Her work ethic, versatility, and dedication is unparalleled. She seems to be a jack of all trades and can work in every position in the cafeteria, whether it's cashier, server, cook, or managing inventories. She is the strongest trainer and the go-to person to help other schools cover special catering events and employee absences. She's known for keeping a positive attitude, and others say positive things about her. As a matter of fact, they say she is one amazing person. Congratulations. From Round Elementary School, Lisa McLaren, school nurse. Round says that Nurse McLaren is awesome, plain and simple. With a school population of 640 students, she demonstrates her knowledge of medical procedures, medication, and nursing best practices as it relates to elementary school-age students in a highly professional and practical way. Besides knowing her field well and helping anyone that comes her way, she is just a genuinely nice person that cares for everyone that comes her way. Congratulations. Yeah. From Weems Elementary School, custodian Emma Sanchez de Hernandez. Ms. Hernandez is one of the school's custodians, and she always goes above and beyond. Every night, she ensures that classrooms are clean and sanitized for the following day. If her cleaning routine needs to change for any reason, she's always keeping everyone updated. She always asks how others are doing and is always smiling. The school is lucky to have a dedicated and kind individual such as Ms. Hernandez, helping to provide the best, cleanest learning environment for their children to grow and learn in, and that's something that they truly appreciate. Congratulations. Next, we have from Maintenance and Central Office, David Peacher, Osborne Head Custodian. Mr. Peacher is a demonstrated leader at Osborne. When he joined the Osborne staff, he served as a mentor, evaluated the school needs and made recommendations while keeping the administration informed during the process. Mr. Peacher led the custodial teams at 2 schools without compromising the level of cleanliness at either facility. He is appreciated for the effort and leadership he delivers for Manassas City Public Schools. Congratulations, Mr. Peacher. And from Transportation, we have Sue Bruckenhofer, Administrative Associate. Ms. Bruckenhofer is the point person for transportation. She is constantly assisting employees with whatever comes their way. She is able to put her daily task aside to assist drivers who need help with computer login information or email questions. She handles payroll and other daily tasks that keep the department moving and running smoothly. Not only does she help her department, but she is also the contact when school employees need to use a vehicle for a school division sponsored event. She does her job well and is very appreciated by her peers. Congratulations. And these are your pair award winners for tonight. Thank you. Congratulations.
There you go. All right, you see it.
You want me to TV?
Yeah, I'm gonna get the TV.
All right, well, I got it.
Yep, keep scooching. About 5 feet.
All right, we're gonna buzz together. Did you get the TV out of the way now?
This one is. 1, 2, 3, smile. There we go. 1, 2, 3.
That's going to be all of the physical ones here. Oh, I mean, that's it. Okay. Everybody good? Thank you all. You all can be seated. I do have a couple of things I want to share with you tonight.
Thank you.
As you all take your seats, I would like to make an announcement tonight. We had some very special awards that we gave out this last week and earlier today. Those recipients are not here tonight, but we did share the information publicly, and we would like for our viewing audience to be able to hear our good news. So, Ms. Garza, if you could pull up our first picture. I was pleased to join Dr. McGuirk and Ms. Wingfield today as we went over to Round Elementary School to surprise fourth grade teacher Jennifer Faria, who is our Virginia Department of Education Mary V. Bukavaris Teacher of the Year for Manassas City Public Schools.
Excuse me, gentlemen in the back should be standing, I think, and clapping.
I will say she was quite surprised when we made our way over there today. Last week, we were able to make some other announcements. And here we have Christine Heaver, who's a physics teacher at Osborne High School, and she's the division's Washington Post Teacher of the Year for 2018. And there she is with her principal and the superintendent. So we congratulate her tonight. And then our final one from last week was Dr. Amanda Wilder, who is the principal at Hayden Elementary School. And
Well, she was just here.
Oh, yeah, she's, okay. And, yes, and so she was named the Washington Post Principal of the Year for Manassas City Public Schools. So we congratulate her as well. And so all of them will be recognized at the Night of Excellence by the Manassas City Public Schools Education Foundation later in May. I believe it's May 24th. And then also at the Evening with the Stars with our fellow employees of Manassas City Public Schools on May 16th. At Baldwin Elementary School. So we just want to say thank you to them for their hard work and their dedication to Manassas City Public Schools, and I'm sure you will see them around, but as you do, please make sure you congratulate them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Radford. Next up is committee reports, and are there any committee reports at all? I'll start, let me do something different. I'll start with Mrs. Williams and work my way down.
Since I'm shaking my head, yes. Well, this morning we had a Personnel Committee meeting where we reviewed the employee engagement survey, which was real positive and definitely an increase over participation from last year, but there will be a presentation to the board later on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Albrecht?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since the last board meeting, we've had another one of our joint finance committee meetings with City Council. And two of the dates, they were just mentioned, we have follow-up meetings both the 16th and 24th of this month. Now, another one's still scheduled for the 30th. We really dove into the details of the school board's adopted budget, the impacts of it, and long-term implications with respect to the city. We got into the financing of things, for instance. The fact that on a per-pupil basis, our state funding, our local funding is the same today as it was in 2006. Yet there's been over a 20% inflation. Gas costs more, insurance costs more, everything costs more. So while everybody's an advocate of education, it seems to be nobody wants to pay for it. And the reality is we've done about as much as we can with less. We have to continue to build schools as enrollment changes. And what I will say is the council was receptive to the message we had. I won't say anybody opened up their checkbook, but we still have an ongoing dialogue, which is positive. So more progress, more reports to come.
Thank you. Ms. Kiefer?
Yes, I just wanted to let the public know we'll have a policy committee meeting on May 7th.
Thank you. Mr. DeMaria?
Thank you. Congratulations to everybody that won awards tonight. Normally, everybody says that before me, but I got to say it first.
Committee
It's a
reports.
committee reports.
Oh, there's committee reports. I got nothing.
Yeah, instead of doing everything, but
Jeez,
you're the only one with
I'm
nothing.
at first. I got nothing, sir.
Well, next time you can say it even better.
I don't want to forget. Somebody else is going to say it first.
Academics.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Academics Committee met last week to get an overview of our fine arts programs and also to review a couple proposed calendars for the 2019-2020 school year, and we will be going over that in discussion tonight.
All right, thank you. Thus ends the committee reports.
Yeah, gotcha.
Next on to board member comments. We're going to start with Mr. Hernandez Morales.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, just good job, Mr. Demiria. Nice job, wonderful job. And I just wanted to say, and I just wanted to say that I think my favorite moment of the whole school board every time is probably like the superintendent's announcements and spotlights, because I get to sit in Mr. Williams' chair when they take the photo. It makes me feel in charge of the little hammer. But I just had a few announcements regarding prom and after prom, especially since I was born. All the energy that was there couldn't have been created without our teachers, administrators, and volunteers. When I was there, I saw literally half the school. I can go down a couple, but Mr. Lopez, Principal Gabalski, both Andrew and Stephen Wilson, they're not brothers, Mr. Steiner, Ms. Callahan, Ms. Rubach, Mr. Whitley, Ms. Yankovitz, and volunteer from families such as the families Ball, Scott, and Washington. And I just wanted to thank all of them for making our prom and after prom a really enjoyable, something to, keep in memory. And I also wanted to re-congratulate Ms. Heaver, because she's one of my AP teachers in science, and I think it's wonderful that she won the Washington Post award for, Teacher of the Year. Thank you. I stutter sometimes. And I think Ethan had a couple comments as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, and thanks for keeping my chair warm. I appreciate that. Mr. Anderson next.
Thank you. I actually do have some comments about Mrs. Heaver. She's actually my physics teacher, and during that picture when she was given the award and the picture, it was actually my class, so it was really nice being there. She's such an amazing teacher, and she really is just such a wonderful person. So I'm so happy for her to win this award. I have another few comments. Congratulations once again to the Jenny Dean and Apple and Pear Award winners. Also, the Walk for Water is this Saturday from 11 to 2. I probably will be there. And then Manassas Reads, that is also this Saturday from 9 to 4 at the Harris Pavilion. And I know that Mrs. Seberg will be there, and so will Dr. McGorrick, and I'm sure a bunch of others. There will be free books for all, music, crafts, and you get to read to a therapy dog. Lastly, we're currently in the middle of class and SCA elections. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to go out of order from our sheet here and let Mr. Demaria go first.
Well, they've already said congratulations to those people. Well, I tell you what, I'll think of something. Congratulations to them. I wanted to expound upon what Mr. Albrecht said about funding, and everything he said is, as per usual, almost always perfectly correct. Council did seem somewhat receptive to our needs but they need to hear from the public as well. Funding is not where it needs to be. I started on this board in 2006, and we are getting the same amount of money per pupil as when I started 12 years ago, and it just doesn't work. We've got too many expenses in order to keep going the way we're going, and our school system has done an incredible job with the funding that we have, or should I say we don't have. We are doing wonderful things, and we need to keep the ball rolling, and our motor's running out of gas because we don't have the money to pay for it. So if you have the inclination, contact your council people, and which is really nice to say council people rather than councilmen. Contact your council people and let them know that you are in favor of funding for our schools. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Marion. Mr. O'Hanlon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations to everyone honored tonight. Also, I've been honored to attend several events recently at our schools, and just want to say we have some amazing students taught by amazing staff, all doing wonderful work. And for example, we saw some great artwork last week at the Arbor Day celebration, and that was led by, well, Dr. McGork, but Ms. Williams to my right here, that was her celebration. So keep up the good work, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Ms. Seberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, congratulations to the students, the teachers, and the support staff that were honored here tonight. Thank you for bringing your excellence to us. I also wanted to thank the staff and parents for participating in our surveys. Right now, I think we still have our counseling survey out, and so we still need parents to respond to that. But thank you for participating, because that's how we get to hear from everybody that answers. So let that be you that we hear from. Also, a shout out to the students that participated in the Skills USA Virginia competition down in Virginia Beach last weekend. I heard we had some champions come out of that, and hopefully they'll come before us and be recognized in front of everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Williams.
All right, of course, congratulations to all the Apple Pear winners. Without you and your fantastic career choices, we wouldn't have the leadership and caring for our young people today. So be proud of what you do every day. I want to also let you know that I attended the Smart Beginnings for Tomorrow's Workforce breakfast. It was about time goes by so quick. I think it was about a week and a half ago. And it was really interesting. We heard from Jack Gellin, who is the Vice President of Lockheed Martin, and what they're discovering is that high-quality childcare from the age of, okay, maybe not 0, but up to 5 years old is really crucial to us as an economy. Companies like Lockheed Martin are really struggling to really close that skills gap. So they're being proactive, and they're really trying to find ways to even perhaps provide child care in their workforce, so these children, these employees who don't have access to high-quality child care will have it at work. And I know we've done that before in the past years ago. Companies used to do that, and I don't know how, they seem to have kind of shied away from that. But if companies like these are recognizing how important it is for these kids to have quality childcare when they're young and do something about it, perhaps we will be able to close that skills gap. They also are doing internships, as well as children or students who aren't going to go to college, but they have that skill set to help their engineers. They have found that there are so many talented people who can't quite afford a 4-year university, but their skill set really do help their engineers really truly bridge also their economic gap, in the sense that it doesn't cost so much money for them to employ, they can hire 2 people instead of 1. And that's working very, very well for them. So I commend companies like this to really reach out and recognize the talent we do have throughout our nation. And with that, I am through, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Albright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've kind of been getting around a lot lately. Last week, I had the privilege of chairing the VSBA conference on equity down in Chesterfield. And what was really reassuring to me was looking at some of the issues, and they really focused on Richmond City, that are going on, how much of it we have embraced within Manassas. We really are doing a lot of things right. I've also been down at Colonial Beach. We're in a regional forum where they had a forum focused on K-12 and post-secondary education and what they could do to align it. We had the presidents of 2 universities and 2 community colleges with 3 sitting superintendents. It was really a lively discussion, fantastic, and we talked about what the future is. And then last night I was down in Chase City, which I-85 and the North Carolina line is about where I was. But it was a fantastic session. We had the State Secretary of Education, former President of the Virginia Chamber of Commerce, really talking about what is education. And as I've gone around the state, what I'm learning is we all have the same problems. The difference is how we choose to address the implementation of it. We don't have achievement gaps. We have equity gaps in how we are funding and how we are addressing education in this nation and in the Commonwealth. And as we were talking last night, what really hit me in Mecklenburg, which could have fallen off the face of the earth a while back, and the president of the chamber talked, the community started 20 years ago adopting a kindergarten class, and every student now has a buddy. The class from 20 years ago, that kindergarten class, and they don't have a lot of people moving out of town down there, they have a lot of poverty. Of the entire class, only 2 children did not pursue post-secondary education. It includes a couple of doctors, a couple of PhD, a research physicist, and yet it comes from an environment where you'd say that kind of achievement can't be achieved. It's because the community embraced education. The community's embraced it, and as a result, Amazon has gone down there and built one of their largest data centers. Microsoft has gone down there building a facility. So when the community embraces education, and by the way, they're getting ready to build a new school based upon the model curriculum for the future, based upon the 5 C's, that's going to be 5 times their annual operating budget. And their board of supervisors said, no problem, we'll figure out how to pay for it. So when the community embraces education, great things can happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Kiefer.
It's always a tough act to follow. Mr. Albrecht, thank you for your service. I don't think people realize how little sleep you get and how half the time you don't know which city you're in. But we do appreciate it. You provide a perspective to all of us that takes us outside of Manassas City and our thinking and makes us realize that we're not alone. So I just wanted to, again, congratulate everybody who's been honored tonight. I know that what we call Staff Appreciation Week is coming up in May, and I think it's just something we need to do all year long. All of these folks here, whether teachers, bus drivers, cafeteria leaders, have in some way instilled leadership in our kids and inspiration in our kids, and it just can't go unnoticed. And they always do it with a smile. We saw Miss Brown's smile when she walked up toward us. It was just the most infectious thing, like I want to go have lunch tomorrow at her school. It's just, we look out at this sea of people that are here being honored and all of those who may not be here tonight that are just out day in and day out. And I just want to make sure we think about how we appreciate and honor and just say that simple thank you for what you do, who you are, and how you help our future leaders. Thank you.
Thank you all. And I just will quickly say congratulations to all the award winners tonight. Thank you all for your great comments. And when Mr. Albrecht was speaking, I thought of a saying, which I'll paraphrase, which is basically that where your treasure is, your heart will be also. Our treasure are our kids in great measure, and if our hearts are with them and we as a community are stand behind them, we can do anything. The Mecklenburg example was great, and hopefully every day we try to do that. Not nearly as much to the degree that the folks who were not here earlier do, but I think we all have that same heart, and if we keep doing that, we'll make our school system the best. So thank you all. Next on to the consent agenda. Oh, no, I did this again on citizens' comments. Are there any citizens' comments? Going once, going twice. Next on to the consent agenda. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I move adoption of the consent agenda as modified.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Albrecht, second by Mrs. Kiefer, that the school board of the city of Manassas approve the consent agenda as modified. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, 7-0. Discussion agenda. The first item on the discussion agenda, student achievement, is the 2019-2020 school calendar.
Perfect. All right, thank you. Good evening, Chairman Williams, members of the board, Superintendent McGorg. Tonight I'm here to share with you a proposal for the 2019-2020 school year calendar. Let me see here. There we go. The first thing I want to share is the Virginia State Code that requires school systems to establish a school calendar. That doesn't require students to attend the first day prior to Labor Day. But also in that code, you notice that school boards can waive that if they meet any of the good cause requirements. Currently, we use the Prince William umbrella because they geographically surround us, so we start the same day they've been starting the last couple of years. When you look at this code, it states that a good cause, one of the requirements is over the last 10 years, if your school system averages at least 8 days, any of those 5 of those last 10 years, you can be certified to be waived from this requirement. Looking at our last 10 years of our closed snow days, we have now reached an average of 7.6 per year. And I reached out to the State Department of Education, and they said, yes, we can round up to 8. So now we can qualify for good cause under our own umbrella. And tonight, that is the underpinning of one of our versions that will be presented. One thing, I want to go back to that slide. And in regards to longevity of this good cause requirement, when you look at these years, we would, even if we received no snow days for the next 4 years, we'd still be able to use the 7.6 average over the next 4 years, 5 years, going forward, even if we didn't have any snow days for several years. As I stated before, our current school calendars are based on the good cause requirement under the Prince William County umbrella since they geographically surround us. One of those requirements of starting under their umbrella is that we start the same day they do. Right now, they start the week before Labor Day. Tonight, I will be presenting a version of the calendar that starts even earlier than they do under our version of that calendar. Version A. So in version A, this is the school calendar using our own snow day average to start earlier than we have traditionally. If you look at the month of August, new teachers would report August 1st of 2019. The returning teachers would have from August 1st through August 6th to get their 2 flex days in prior to their reporting day of August 7th. The first day for students would be August 19th, 2 weeks prior to Labor Day. One thing I will point out, in this version of the calendar, it does not include a closed day for November 4th, or November 11th, Veterans Day. The end of the first semester would be December 20th, so at the beginning of winter break, the first semester will have concluded. SOL testing for that semester will have concluded, and that would be the end of the first semester. In January 2020, January 1 is New Year's Day, divisions closed. January 2nd and 3rd is a work day and a professional development day for staff. Students would not return until January 6th. I point that out because the winter break for the students will still be 2 weeks, but staff will be shorter than it traditionally is. In February, we'd have President's Day as a closed day for the division. March, we do provide a teacher work day after that third quarter, which is the 13th. In April, spring break will be as it's proposed, is different than traditionally. That Monday would now be an instructional day. And the students would be done May 28th, and staff would be finished, teachers would be finished May 29th in version A. Some of the considerations from version A before I leave this that I haven't mentioned so far, if this were to be adopted, this provides parents, with over a year to start to plan for that 1920 school year, vacation for that summer. Another interesting consideration is that with this version A, it provides more equity in instructional time for AP students compared to their peers. They now will finish their second semester, will be close to finishing their second semester around AP testing, the national AP testing window, versus how our traditional calendar is set up now. First semester transcripts for college applications will be ready early January, opposed to late January, early February that we have now. And And the summer weeks are still the same, 8 weeks for 8 weeks for staff and 10 weeks for students. Looking at version B, this is basically our traditional calendar that we've adopted over the last few years. Staff, new teachers would report August 12th, and between August 12th and August 15th, staff would get their 2 flex days in. The first day for staff report would be August 16th, and students would start August 26th. All the holidays here are the same as we typically have taken them. You have Veterans Day, we have our winter break. Students would return to class on January 2nd in 2020. The end of the first semester would be in January, and January 16th, for some reason that heavy border didn't show up there on the PDF. But the end of the first semester would be January 16th. And the rest of the holidays here, March 22nd, end of the third quarter, are the typical holidays we typically take now. The last day for students would be June 10th, and the last day for teachers would be June 11th. As far as this version B, some considerations. As I mentioned with the AP students in version A, it's the opposite of version B. AP students would have less instructional time compared to their peers across the country when it came for their AP testing in May. The first semester transcripts, as I said earlier, with version B, wouldn't be ready until late January, early February. And the summer break still is 8 weeks for staff and 10 weeks for students. So between the two versions, they don't lose any summer time after that first transition. The first transition summer of summer 19 will be shorter as we transition, if that were to be adopted into the new calendar, into version A. So, touchy mouse. I provide you a side-by-side comparison with all the considerations I had just mentioned at a single glance view. Next step would be to make any final revisions that the board willed tonight. We would make those revisions and then post this for public comment very shortly after those revisions are completed, present results to the school board, and the school board take action on the 2019-2020 school year calendar. That concludes my presentation.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for this well-thought-out presentation. I'll start with the academic committee. Do you have any comments, questions?
None that weren't addressed in the details of Mr. Lyons' presentation.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments?
I mean, we're really interested to see what the survey results will bring us. So.
Okay. Thank you. Any comments? Mr. Mayor?
Okay, I'll go first. Neither calendar you have Columbus Day off.
Correct.
I've been fighting for that for 12 years. Thank you very much. He doesn't deserve it. Version A is very intriguing. It'll be interesting to see what our parents and staff have to say. It seems to me it's awful early, and whether they'll bite on that or not, I'm not sure. It'd be nice if we could transition to that, if we're going to, a little bit. It just seems pretty blunt that we're going so early. Personally, I would like it, but I'm not sure where our teachers and our staff and our parents are going to be on that, because that first summer would be awful short. That first summer would be. Version B is typical. I like that. Version A, you've got the teachers coming back on the 1st and 2nd of January.
Yes.
Right, version
well,
A.
2nd and 3rd of January. Mm-hmm. Teacher work
Second
day.
and third. Second and third. Was there consideration of giving the full 2 weeks and then, ending June 2nd? And I'm sure there was consideration on everything, I'm sure. What was our consideration on that?
Well, we considered, trying to fit a 2-week break for staff also. It just, when we were trying to make this as short as possible and stay within May and not go into June, that's what we had to do.
Okay.
A lot of the comments over the past several years as we developed the calendar, parent comments were, if we start earlier, why aren't we ending earlier?
Yeah, right.
And so we tried to develop a calendar that really showed an earlier ending and still meet all the instructional requirements of the Virginia Code and the children's needs.
Okay. I'm with Mrs. Seberg on this. It'll be really interesting to see what our survey says. And to the thousands, again, that are watching, please participate in this. This is another one of those things where I hear a lot of people say that I'm not going to complete the survey because you don't care what the survey says. Well, we do, and I'm torn, and I need some help on this. So if you're listening in the audience, complete your survey so that we know what you're thinking, because it'll be influential on me at least. Thank you, sir, for all your work.
Thank you. Any comments this way? Mr. Hanlon?
Just wanted, I pointed it out to you earlier, if you slide down in the middle there where it has April, it does say April 20th.
Yes.
That is not.
No, yeah, well, that is a misprint. We will correct that, yep.
And the real question I have is there any impact on how close to the end of the year SOLs will be as far as students who retake for graduation and so on?
The SOL testing window would bump up a little earlier than normally if you're not, and
The school has flexibility.
Oh, yes.
Not the same day the state.
no. The state gives us basically an 8-week window, and we pick the 4 weeks that fits our academic calendar. Yeah, we have a lot of flexibility there.
Ms. Williams? Mr. Albert?
I do, thank you. First, it's refreshing, you started off, so we have 4 years to kill the King's Dominion law. I mean, it's a stupid law. You want to ask me how I really feel? The big businesses just cajole the Commonwealth into. So it's really neat to see us doing something that I think what I've heard you say with option A is that it is probably the most student-focused version of something we could do. So it is going to be interesting to hear what parents as well as staff have to say about it. And certainly the transition year, I understand, will be extremely difficult. But it's an opportunity to focus on what's best for kids, and it should lead a result. The question I have, and I don't expect the answer right now, is if we actually finish on the 29th of May, for those VHSL sports that continue and have, postseason activities and everything else, and given, other than Southwest Virginia and the rest of the state, but not Northern Virginia, we'll still be in school around here, but no one else in the state will be. Is there a VHSL impact relative to postseason things? And will we have kids playing in games in June that won't be in school?
That's a good question. I'll have to research that and get back to you on it.
Yes, we will. I don't think it's a problem. We've done it in the past.
Correct, and those are usually the postseason tournaments that you qualify for championships and you continue on. Yeah.
Ms. Kiefer? Yeah. As a former coach, I'd say more time for practice, so that'd be great. But thank you for the well-thought-out calendars, and I love the fact that we're going to have the community give us input, and Mr. Murray's right on point. The more input we have, the better decisions we can make, so thank you for your work, and thank you to the academic committee for all your time we put on this. Thank you.
So are you okay if I present these versions as is for survey?
I think with the typographical corrections, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that 20th off there.
Yes.
Well, it's like turning that in there, don't they?
Right. So go forward.
Okay,
Thank you.
Just tell my friend Pete now.
Next, in the Finance and Operations, we have the FY 2018-2019 student fees and charges. Mr. Hawkins.
So good evening. At our last school board meeting, we talked a little bit about our student fees. And the fee schedule for students, as far as, it would not change from our current year to next year. The other thing that we discussed was there would be we're proposing some fee changes for our building rentals. Whereas before we had just elementary and high school rates, we now have 3 different levels for elementary, intermediate, and high. we also took the fees that we have and compared them to the marketplace and adjusted our rates up or down, however, where they needed to go, based on what the market will bear out there for those. So, as I see it now, we have several options. One, we can leave the fees like we have them for our current year that we're in now with no change. Two, we could go with the proposed fees that are shown on your screen. Or three, I guess we could leave the fees like we have them and work with our partners with the city to have a citywide approach. I don't know the desires of the board or the consensus of the board of how you would like to approach this going forward. So we'd like to have some direction, I guess, on which way we would go. I mean, our recommendation is that we go with the fee schedule that we have on the screen. It seems to make sense for right now. We did protect the high school fields. Those rates are still at the rate that they were. When I say the high school rates, I'm talking about the baseball fields and the football stadium, where we have our most significant investment in. Millions of dollars have been placed into those fields. We would still be charging significantly higher rates in the market in order to try to help protect our investment and also to make sure that it stays in tip-top shape. So, I mean, I think the fee schedule as presented is reflective of the market while still protecting our major investments in Gillum Field and over in the football stadium at Osborne.
Okay, I'm going to start off by asking the board, maybe I'll start with the Education Support Committee. Do you have any feelings?
Well, we haven't met
either way
about this recently, but yeah, my feeling is we should update it, and then when our discussions with the city go forward, if we have to amend it at that time, we amend it again. But we need a fee schedule for this upcoming year, and there's no guarantee anything's going to happen with the city, so we might as well go forward and then fall off that bridge when we come to it.
Okay. Mr. Seaberg, any other comments? Mr. Albrecht?
Well, I'm probably the lone voice on this, but I really feel we've had a first dialogue with the city. We don't know what's going on. We talk about it, and while I respect the marketplace, we're not out trying to sell our buildings to the marketplace. Our buildings are for the children of the city of Manassas, and if we can get a secondary community use, that's a really good thing. But first and foremost, our mission is to educate and enrich the children of Manassas. I don't know where the city is on things, and I get it that we can come back and address it later, but I don't want us to look like a ping pong ball. So I'm of the opinion we reinstate the current schedule next year, give ourselves a year to work with the city, see if they really want to work with us. I mean, in the Finance Committee dialogues we've had, they seem open. The elephant in the room is, what are we doing with a new dean? What are we doing for the restructuring of the Dean Park? And how are we all going to work together? And are we or aren't we?
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, my inclination then is next week it seems that the majority of the board is for the new fee schedule to have this. But let me back up. Do you all need the fee schedule to be in place by tonight, or can we wait till the next meeting?
No, we would bring it back again.
Okay, right. So I just wanted to make sure. So to bring it back to the next meeting with staff recommendation, and then we'll have a vote and discussion on it, because I'm inclined to, at this point, go with Mr. Murray and wait to see what City Council does, but I hear Mr. Albrecht's concerns, and that way we can have a full vetting, discussion of it, and vote on it and go forward. So we can present what you recommended next week and go from there.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, the next item, I guess, is online payment system.
So we would like to give the parents in Manassas City Public Schools in that area the flexibility to be able to make payments online for their students. You can see this would give our parents the ability to pay for a variety of different things, but some things that they would never think about buying with a debit or credit card, such as tickets or concessions or other things, those things would also be available to be used with debit or credit cards if we were when we implement this system. It gives parents an online shopping experience they've come to expect when they do their own online shopping for everything else through Amazon or others. They have a full shopping cart functionality, but they will be able to pay all their student fees at once, regardless of the school that their children are in. So if you have multiple children in different schools, you'll be able to pay them all at one time if at what you so choose. You'll also be able to pay them in whole or in part with balance due notifications. So they'll be able to set you up on a sort of electronic payment plan. And if you provide the required information, you'll be able to automatically have those payments made out of your account. The system will be, of course, mobile, phone and tablet friendly website. Collecting and accounting for all of our school payments will be easier for our bookkeepers. We hope it will increase the revenue, but also minimize our risk. It'll ease some of the administrative responsibility by having all of our funds, all of the funds directly deposited into the school's bank account instead of the bookkeeper necessarily having to go to the bank every day. The funds will be deposited there directly. And of course, all of our transactions will be fully secured. To give you a little video of this system.
The way people pay for things today has changed. The way people pay for things today has changed quite rapidly over the last 10 years. Cash and check were once king, but credit and debit cards are now becoming the preferred way to pay. We swipe our cards, shop and pay bills online, and even use our phones to make purchases both big and small. So how can schools change alongside parents who may not carry as much cash in their wallets or even remember where they last saw their checkbook? My Schoolbox provides a complete payment solution designed for the specific needs of K-12 schools. With My Schoolbox, you can quickly and easily set up a virtual storefront to securely collect school payments online using a credit card, debit card, or electronic check. Trusted by more than 3,000 school districts across the U.S., My Schoolbox gives parents a convenient way to pay for all kinds of school fees, including extended care programs, athletics, transportation, events, and more, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And administrators can easily manage the collection of those payments online. With a look and feel similar to what you'd expect from other online shopping sites, parents can quickly find what they're looking for, filtering search results by school or product category. Managing your virtual storefront is just as easy. Featured products can be displayed prominently on your home page with the click of a button, and inventories can be managed using the built-in quantity function. My Schoolbox also supports multiple payment schedules that allow parents to pay for items in one-time lump sum or through scheduled installments using the convenient recurring payment option. For store items such as upcoming field trips or parking permits, customizable web forms facilitate the collection of additional information that might be required upon checkout, making it easy for you and for parents. Once a payment is made, funds are automatically deposited into your school's bank account, and our online reporting tools make it easy to track payments for reconciliation and sales management. On top of all that, My Schoolbox provides unparalleled customer service to schools and parents alike, including a U.S.-based call center with dedicated support and marketing resources to help you promote this service to your community. There's a better way to pay. Contact us today to learn more about how we can help your school collect and manage payments online with My Schoolbox.
So we have one more little video I'd like for you to see as well.
As the number of payments you collect and manage on campus continues to grow, so should your payment solution. From the main office to the school store and every place in between, you need the flexibility to accept payments for all of your student fees and activities, anytime, anywhere. Now with My School Bucks Anywhere, you can transform any Apple iPad into an instant point-of-sale terminal to accept credit card, cash, and check payments using our app and card reader. Whether you're fundraising in the hallway, selling concessions at an event, or collecting fees in the main office, My School Bucks Anywhere makes payment collection easier than ever before. With its intuitive, user-friendly design, you'll be processing your first payment in no time. Just choose an item from the store catalog and select a student, which will directly link them to the item being purchased. Then, pick a payment method. An email or text a receipt. It's that easy. This mobile point of sale fully integrates with My School Bucks, providing you with a single source for all online and on-campus payments. Easily manage all your school items, fees, and reports in one place with this complete solution. Managing your payments is just as simple as collecting them. With complete integration to My School Bucks, administrators can track payments, update store items, and select from a number of audit-friendly reports, all from a single website portal. Best of all, My School Bucks is backed by Heartland Secure, which protects customer card information using the highest level of security available. Give your staff the mobility they need and your parents the experience they expect. Revolutionize payments at your district today and start accepting payments anywhere on campus. Call 800-423-2113 to see how My School Bucks Anywhere can transform the way you do business.
So, as I said in the video, this software is used by thousands of school districts across the state, across the nation. And in Virginia, almost every Northern Virginia school division uses it. During our last meeting, we talked about there would be no cost to the school division, but there would be a 3.95% transaction fee to parents if they went through the credit card or a debit card type of, or electronic check to pay for their student's fee. I think Mr. Albrecht mentioned at that time he had concerns about that. So we sent out a Wavy Guide request asking area systems around us what they did, whether or not what system do you use, if any, and do they pay a convenience fee or a transaction fee for the use. And on the screen you can see the school divisions that responded back to us. I do apologize down at the bottom where I have the stars. I didn't put what they meant. So for example, under Alexandria, where they have that 1 star there for next to 3.95%, they just call it a transactions fee instead of a convenience fee. They were just telling us what they call it. Under Fairfax, they use My School Bucks, but they don't charge the parents any fees at all. Those fees are all picked up by the school district. If you go to Manassas Park, city schools, where the 3 stars are, fees are charged. They do charge fees at the games. So if they're paying for concession, for tickets or things like that, but the fees are paid by the division, not by the people who go to a football game. So if you buy a football ticket, the fee is picked up by the school division, but if a parent is paying for just a normal fee, then the convenience fee or transaction fee would be charged. Under Prince George's County, they said all fees are charged on all transactions, irregardless of how they are paid. So for example, if you were to go into Prince George's County and you were to pay by check or cash like you do now, they would still you would still have to pay the transaction fee. What we're proposing is that we want to give our parents every opportunity to pay for their students and make it as convenient for them as possible. So we would only be charging the transaction or convenience fee when they pay online, not if they were to come in person and conduct business like they normally do now, whether it's through cash or check or whatever they give us now in person. But if they wanted to go through and have the convenience of doing this online, then it would be a convenience or a transaction fee. So currently now, our food service department has this software, has for several years. I'm not sure why the division had it for food service, but for not for other areas. But we're going to correct that, hopefully, with this new addition. So I was trying to determine, one of the other questions that Mr. Albrecht asked last time was, well, didn't want to discourage parents. It felt like it might be some discouragement to parents to use this system based on the transaction fee and the cost of it. So we checked with food service today, and about 50% of their money in March, so $32,000 in March came through this automated online payment system, and about $30,000 came in in-person payments. So it's about 50-50 of how the money comes in. But it does offer some of our parents a better opportunity, easier opportunity to be able to take care of the expenses for their children quickly on their own time schedule. They don't have to come to school. They don't have to have cash or check. They can use electronic means for payment that we don't offer now in our schools. So we believe that this will enhance our service to our parents, but it will not. It's not going to take anything away from them. It's not going to hurt them. And most school divisions in this area do charge the transaction fee to the parents. So are there any questions, concerns?
Thank you very much for the presentation. Innovative and very interesting. I have a few questions, but I'll start to my left. Any questions or comments? Mrs. Williams?
Well, I have two comments. I like choice. I do. I like choice. The best thing I ever did was sign up. I think I paid $2.22 every time my kid's lunch account goes down. And then I figured out, it's $2.22 whether I do $20 or $100. So I changed that. But I'm the type of person that I may forget to load the card or send them money or whatever, so it works well for me. Then I lost my thought about the other thing. Also, our parents are younger and younger and younger every year, and many people don't even have checks anymore, a checkbook at all. So this will definitely give those parents a way to pay much more conveniently and probably a way they're used to. Those are my only two comments.
Thank you. Mr. Albrecht?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've got about 3 pages of notes as we were talking, so let me try to not go off on a long diatribe. And I've actually been doing professionally researching this, trying to apply blockchain to electronic fund transfer, so I'm reasonably cognizant of this now. And the state of Massachusetts is the only place in the nation that requires people to accept U.S. currency. Interesting, weird stat. Everywhere else you can say we don't take U.S. currency even though we're in the U.S. This is the right way to go. The concept is right, but like anything, the devil's in the details. What is our hardware outlay if we're going to start putting point-of-sale terminals, which, by the way, have to be the chip readers, not the stripe readers, in every school? What's our capital outlay? And what's our long-term maintenance liability as a result of that? I don't think I've heard, I don't understand. I saw some really pretty YouTube videos from some commercial company. It was an ad. Who in Virginia is using them? How have they done it? And what's our liability if we start getting into electronic fund transfer and accepting parents' credit card data? We're doing it already, but now we're really doing it at football games and whatever else, and how are we doing it? And it's one thing to say they'll be in the office and hardwired into our secure network, we start putting them out at concession stands and start putting them at the football gate, you're getting into having the ones like people have when you go to farmer's market that are tied into Wi-Fi or they're tied into a cell phone. How are they really going to work? What are the details on that? Your presentation talked about we could do it to reserve facilities. What's our facility reservation system? Because now we're going to get into a food fight with, I paid for the facility, what do you mean it's not available? So that's a real challenge. And
Well, I do want to say that I don't think we're going to roll out all the features that are involved in this right away. I think we need, you're right, a lot of this looks really nice and looks really pretty. It's one of the things when I talk to them about it. How much setup is it going to be in the background? How much time is it going to take our bookkeepers to be able to set all of this up and make it work appropriately? So I think for the first year, we'll start implementation as soon as we possibly can, but I think when we come back to school in September, the implementation will not be that we'll be selling popcorn and hot dogs with it or football tickets with it, but we'll be just making sure that our basic fees are being taken care of first and that we can do that. As far as the hardware outlay is concerned, we already have tablets throughout our school system that we could use, so it wouldn't be any hardware outlay. There will be some card readers involved, and the vendor is going to sell them to us. They don't want to make any money off of that. That's not their line of work. It's about $60, I think is what they told me, per device. Generally speaking, that would be at the high school level, not at, or maybe at the middle school level, but I don't think at the elementary level where we would be having a lot of events or we would be expanding that. I want to say that we're going to take a slow approach to this and get into it over time. But I think our primary focus more than anything else, I don't want to get, if people are uncomfortable with us selling hot dogs and concession stand stuff with this through these readers, we certainly, I'm not planning on implementing that right away anyway. Our basic function that I want to get implemented is being able to serve our parents so that they can put, not only can they put money on their children's lunch account, but they can also pay their fees, their required fees for the school board in a easy, secured fashion. All of that other stuff, selling football tickets and basketball tickets and concession stand things, those are all things that we'd like to have at some point in time. But I don't anticipate us jumping with both feet into this right away. We would take our time and be able to implement it, because we've got, even with what we're trying to establish now, would take us some time to get all the websites, all the shopping carts, all of the bank accounts, everything set up to where it flowed smoothly. Please.
My final thoughts are, with respect to the fee, do it like every merchant does. We should embed the fee in our price. And part of it is, as I look at that fee structure, that merchant, that vendor is getting rich, because it ought to be a sliding scale. When Prince William County is paying the same fee per transaction and they're doing millions of dollars and they're charging a small system, the going rate is 1% to 4% in the commercial market from Visa and American Express. Amex charges a little more. And then I'd look to see where's our operational benefit, because if we're now going to take all these electronic transactions, and what I saw the back office support is, maybe we don't need school-based bookkeepers.
Well, you talk about the cost. Some of the vendors that we talked to, other than, we just didn't look at My School Bucks and say that's the one. We interviewed several vendors. All the other vendors came back and wanted us to have an annual fee of approximately $15,000 annually that we would pay for this system. But their transaction fee was right. It was lower, right? It was half of this. So, I'm trying to walk a line about being conservative with our funds and also providing a convenience for the parents. So, we chose to not to pay the $15,000 annually to buy the software, but to pass the cost on to the users of the system. So you may not agree with that. We certainly can go back and say, well, we will absorb the transaction fees ourselves if that's what you would like to do, or we can choose another vendor and pay the $15,000 up front and then and let the parents pay a much lower transaction fee. That's all available.
Not to debate, I'm looking at it big picture. If we don't charge a transaction fee, there's no barrier to usage. The more people that use it, I'm lowering my audit risk because that's less cash going through all, that's, every year at the audit report, that's one of the big things they look at. If all that's an electronic fund transfer, we just lowered the audit risk. So why not make an incentive to lower the audit risk? That's where I'm coming from. I'm taking it 2 steps beyond.
Well, we could do that. There's no barrier to us paying the transaction fee if that's the desire of the board. We certainly can do that.
Thank you. Ms. Kiefer?
Yeah, I know Mr. Albrecht had a lot of the questions that I think I was thinking as a mother who apparently has 45 boxes from Amazon Prime on my doorstep at this moment.
Wow.
I am clearly a proponent of this sort of business. And I also have a check from 3 months ago that I sent in with my daughter to put in her lunch account because I don't want to pay the fees, and I just found out she never turned it in. So, so all those issues aside that are personal to me, I agree. I think that the transaction fee is a disincentive. We have to think about the parents that we have in our community and how they're struggling as it is. So $2.22 may mean very little to some of us. It's a lot over time, especially since it's per transaction. So I would support us looking into thinking about that a little bit differently. I did have one question. Does it support PayPal?
I don't know. I'll have to figure it out.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think so.
Thank you. Mr. DeMaria?
Yes, sir. Mr. Hawkins, you said if they paid in person, they could still pay with cash or check. They can still pay with a credit card in person too, correct?
Well, they could.
Right,
I mean,
if they go into the office.
if they go into the office, but I mean, if they're paying with a credit card, then we'd go in through this service and it'd be a transaction fee associated with it,
Right.
okay?
Okay.
But if we're trying to make it more convenient. We're not hindering them. So if they come in, they go to the high school and they bring in, I don't know what a prom ticket costs, $50 for the prom ticket, they would not have a transaction fee associated with it. But if they
Unless they paid with a card.
But if they were to go home or they would pay with a credit card, yes, there would be a transaction fee associated with that.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to make it easier for them to use it, but I'm also, if we're going to pick up part of that or whatever it might be, I don't know what all of our revenue is through these sort of things, through all of this stuff, and what that end cost would be for us. It might be great to say, yeah, let's just go ahead and take that, 3.95% and absorb that, but that's 3.95% of what? That could be a
But,
large
we will
number.
we'll have, like I said, we'll have to roll it
Right,
out
but I
slowly
mean, that's
over
one of my
time.
concerns is what the dollar is, not the percentage, what the dollar is. And when I did this at the farm, as Mr. Albrecht said, sometimes I have an upfront fee. There was one group that had that, and then a lower transaction fee. And I did what Mr. Albrecht said. I pretty much incorporated it into my price. And these other schools are doing it, so it must be legal, because I didn't think when I first got my card reader that it was legal to charge more to use a credit card in Virginia. There was something about that in the past, but obviously there is now. You can do it now. Hopefully all these school systems aren't, breaking the law. And my little chip reader was $30, so I don't know if we can negotiate that if we're going to need a bunch of them. The other thing is, on here, online payment system, and we're looking at prom and spirit wear and concessions. With our fees like that, concessions, whatever team is doing the concessions makes that profit. Would that just be, then they would be given the check at the end of that if we ended up going that far with
So it
this?
would be no different as far as the amount of money that the team would get. It would just be so if you bought a hot dog and it was $1, right?
Right.
You'd have to pay the 3.95% fee on top
Right.
of that. And the team would still get the $1.
But that would be a
But they'd
check
be a-
that would, or it would be transmitted from us then?
Right.
Once it was, okay. I think that's all. That's enough.
Thank you. Ms. Seberg?
So I'll talk about the fees just for a minute. Last school year, we had about $450,000 worth of fees. So we would have about $450,000 in student fees last year. So that's around $17,000 or so worth of transaction fees that would be associated with it. when we adopted the budget, we had been researching this, and we thought we were going to have to pay about $15,000 to $16,000 a year in fees for the software system. We have included that in our budget for next year. So we do have some money available to be able to pay the transaction fees should the school board decide to go that route. But you're right, we do want to expand this. We want all of our, fees to go through there. But, if the operating fund is mirrors the food service fund, we wouldn't have $450,000 being done in transactions. We would have half of that, so $225,000. So the amount of money that we have in the budget would adequately take care of these transaction fees, if that's what you would like to do.
Thank you. Ms. Seberg now.
Yeah, I'm interested in that version, that if we absorb the fees, I think that's the best way to go, but we'll see how it works out. I did have a question about if it's a field trip, say it's a theater field trip, the teacher's not setting that up, the bookkeeper's setting it up?
All of it would be done by the bookkeeper. So the bookkeeper would set it up and say, okay, parents, here we are, we have a second grade field trip, and they would be able to send, we would be able to send the notifications. We could be able to attach the permission slip and the notification and everything onto this. And so if the parent said, yes, I want to pay the $5 or whatever it is to go on the field trip, then they could transmit the money back through to us electronically, and each child would be checked off. It's just an electronic way of doing what we do by hand now.
And you're just, the bookkeeper would be assigning that field trip to the certain students?
So the teacher, just like it is now, the teacher would know the bookkeeper would know. She knows who that Mrs. McGork's class is going to the pumpkin patch, right? They know that they're going, and she knows what their names are. And she keeps a manual list of them now.
Okay.
So what we would be doing is doing it electronically this way. So it'd be the same concept, just in an electronic format.
Okay, thank you.
Our student representatives, any comments? Mr. Anderson? Go ahead.
Okay, I heard you say earlier that I don't know if it's each card reader or if it's multiple card readers, are $60?
That's what they had told me. I didn't research that. I didn't negotiate with them. I'm sure that we could get a better price for that. If the going rate is $30, then we'll get that at that rate. But that's what they had told me at the time.
Okay, because looking online, I saw some that were like $7 with tax.
Oh, really?
Each, yeah.
I love these kids.
Yeah. Another thing, are you required to use their card reader? Is it like a proprietary system, or does it work with any card reader?
I don't know. That's a good question. I can find that out as well.
Okay. One more thing. Does this app support NFC? Because if so, that's near field communications. You could then use Apple Pay and Android Pay. And is there an additional charge with that? Do you know?
I don't know. I'll find out.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, good old NFC.
And finally, I had a number of things, more comments. And before I get to them, when do you need, Mr. Hawkins, a decision from us to go forward with this? Do you need it by end of the school year? When do you need it?
Well, we're fine. I mean, we can move it any time, okay? I mean, so it's not a hurry. We hope to be able to implement this over the summer and to be ready for school when it starts in the fall.
Okay, and a thought that I had, which Ms. Kiefer and Mr. Albrecht also had, was that we should have this probably referred to the Finance Committee next to look at, because the issues that were raised are all great. I come at it from a different perspective. My first thing is legal liability. Where is that going to affect us? I mean, obviously, if we sign a contract with someone and they've done it before, they're the primary, but we still have some culpability, and that worries me a bit with parental information. Cybersecurity issues worry me as well. There's always a ton of incidents we see in the news and that I see frequently at work that I worry about. And something else that wasn't mentioned, and these are more things that could be brought up to the Finance Committee, is this a web-based or cloud-based system? Because that'll affect the security and some of the liability as well. And another thought that occurred to me based on a comment that I heard was for our lunch programs. For federal programs, are there issues with fees and using this for those programs? Because we obviously have a lot of...
We've had this program for several years.
And it's not implicated at all.
We just haven't had it for all the other fees. I mean, I don't know why, but, I mean, why they did it for food service and not for the other fees years ago. I don't know. I think most of us on the administrative team thought it had been done years ago, and we just didn't realize it. And then when I found out that it had been done, well, why not? We need to move quickly to get it done. So the food service fund has been doing this for several years.
Okay. So what I'm going to task you with is to bring this to the Finance Committee, work with the Finance Committee to address some of the concerns and thoughts that have been articulated here tonight with the transaction fee and other things, looking at the impact on our budget, which appears to be minimal, which would be great. And then once the Finance Committee looks at it, it can kind of drill down into some of these issues, bring it back to the board, and we can vote on it and go forward. If that makes sense to everyone here. Mr. DeMaria, you have another point.
The food services, who's paying that, the fee? Does that?
parent pays the fee,
The parent
yeah.
pays on that one already? Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other comments?
I think it hurts some parents to get pissed off at it.
Okay, we'll delete that comment, but, all right. But thank you. I mean, what we want to do when we can is to make life easier for our parents and our families and our students. So this is a great step in that direction. I think we just need to drill down a little bit. But thank you for the time you put into this. We appreciate it. All right, and with that, we have ended with our regular agenda. We're going to go into closed session, so may I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I move that the School Board of the City of Manassas enter closed session pursuant to exceptions for open meetings allowed by Section 2.23711, Part A, Paragraph 1 of the Code of Virginia, 1950, as amended for the following purpose: discussion of personnel matter.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Kiefer, second by Mrs. DeMaria, that the School Board of the City of Manassas enter a closed session pursuant to exemptions from open meetings allowed by Section 2.2-3711, Part A, Paragraph 1 of the Code of Virginia, 1950, as amended for the following purposes: discussion of a personnel matter. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes carried 7-0. We are in closed session.